In the Microsoft's 10-year and past 2 years, I decided that, I'm going to keep the logo in there. Cool. Just precursor to it, we hear about IoT a lot. It's becoming a really, like the early days of the cloud, is a mouthful word. It is many things to many people. And I know that the term has been used as an IoT, Internet of Things. Cisco kind of, felt that they have left behind in this revolution. They call it IOX, Internet of Everything. And the term kind of gets evolved, and it is anything from just getting data from a device to doing the preventive maintenance. Security now is becoming a big buzzword in IoT space and connected cars as we get a lot of things in the house, appliances. So we will see. My goal is that, that this demystify both IoT as well as what are the business opportunities. This is what the 30-page deck, what I have squeezed it to 14, 15. Let's see what happens. The Internet of Things is not really about
Alex, it would be easy for us to hear you. You stand in front.
Oh, sure. I could do that. Except that I won't be able to see my...
Thank you.
Sure. So Internet of Things is not just the technology. It is really, as we will see and we hear in the media and some of the companies talk about it, defining the products in the space, it's creating a revolution. IoT is really a business revolution that enabled by technology, not the other way around. It's not a technological revolution. You look at this, IoT is really delivering a tangible results across a lot of industries. Either, from a mining industry to Rolls-Royce, which flies the engines, and I will give at least this Rolls-Royce example. Johnson Control, that they make a lot of chillers and facilities type of equipment, heating, cooling, smart buildings, as well as Rockwell Automation. And one example I'll give, this is really interesting, with Rolls-Royce. In the old days, airplane manufacturers, they rented their planes or they sold it. But now what they do, they charge the airlines by number of the hours that the airplanes are flying. And since the downtime means every minute or every hour that the engine doesn't work, airplanes down and they're not getting paid, they have implemented a really expensive IoT platform. Today, when an airplane is flying, every engine emits about 170 plus telemetry real time that actually they are transmitted. They can predict from vibrations, from noise, from anomaly in the parts of the engine, that what problems are happening, that they can, based on that, use the 3D printing to kind of print the part that will go bad, and so replace it real time while airplane is landing and kind of passengers are getting off of the airplane. They can replace the parts. And when you land, there is about terabyte of data that we download, and we look at everything from the seats, kind of, sensors are working, maybe smoke detectors in the airplane, how many times the toilet doors have been open and closed. I mean, entire this smart thing that you can see, they can collect the data and can predict about the life of each of the parts and every equipment in the airplane. And this way they minimize the airplane outages, and they run a survey that they looked at the availability of airplanes in past 25 years. In past 2 years, they have deployed this IoT technology, and they have changed their business model. They have been able to have about 92-93% availability, versus in the past they had average of less than 70% availability. That means a lot of airplanes got delayed until the part comes in, you slept overnight, and that's all cost for the airlines to put you in the hotel, feed you, give you vouchers to begin with, and they're avoiding a lot of that cost. And as you can see, this is an example of it. Rather than just being a technology, they have revolutionized their business. Rather than selling the airplanes, they now charge them by number of hours. If any questions, stop me and ask the questions. See if it will come. Some of these animations are... So the common pattern that there are things that they emit data, and what we do, we communicate through cloud gateways, or on-prem gateway today. there is, you might see the term about edge computing, because in the old days, each of these devices over the internet connectivity, they emit their data to cloud. There was a delay because analytics had to be done after the data is collected. We get in what cloud gateways are becoming the edge, that they're on-prem and they can take a lot of data. As a matter of fact, Boeing has onboard a computer that does all this real-time analytics, machine learning, and AI, and they can do predictive insights, and then they can kind of transmit them to ground to tell them that, hey, we think this part is going to fail, or anything like that. And as you can see, the cloud gateway transmitted the data. We get the insights to health of the system or the service, and then based on that, we trigger an action, which means kind of replace a part, or you need to kind of put more oil in the hydraulics or anything like that. And as you can see in this picture, just almost everything seems to be getting connected. From dogs that they have now, GPS and tracking system to make sure that your dog doesn't get lost, to trucks, Amazon. I'm sure a lot of you folks shop from Amazon. Amazon can real-time keep track of their car and trucks and tell you where your package is. Surveillance. I know David's here probably. He can tell you guys a lot about how they use IoT and whole surveillance and security industry. And the list just goes on. Unfortunately, I don't want to clutter this thing. This is kind of more than the smart meters. I just got a smart ring in my house and installed it this weekend. So anybody comes by, so I'll be tracking the neighborhood, all the people who are snatching the packages, that kind of stuff, and then transmitting it. But at this, as soon as the sensor picks up a movement, I can look on my phone to see who came in and at least look at the pictures. So IoT is bringing really a lot of ways, what I will summarize, open opportunity for not only for business innovation, but also I think it will eventually make the societies safer, happier, because we don't have to spend a lot of time, with lack of optimization in services or products we use, and safety as well. I mean, that's what really Dave's company does. They help a lot of municipalities and companies to monitor their environment from live video feed and do analytics and predict this crime is going to happen, where it's going to happen, and they can avoid it. And I think you guys work on smart building, correct? Yeah, I can't tell your name.
IOTAS, say.
Say. So it's here from IOTAS, and I know that I follow them on a smart building, and I'm helping a company called Flex also on getting to all this low-cost, smarter components that they can build the houses with all the sensors embedded in it as we move forward. And it's interesting, today I had a tweet about this low-cost housing for homeless in San Jose. So Kaiser has designed this really small homes that they're planning to get them in nearby cities that they can temporarily shelter. But I kind of noted that we should partner with Flex and some companies like you to build a sensor. A lot of these homeless in the shelter, they have illnesses or disabilities that just putting them in a lock them in a small box is not really the solution. But we should be able to monitor their health, while we are kind of getting them back on their feet. This is this example of, the portfolio of the companies we have worked at Microsoft. Past 2 years I have been in my team in NorCal, and this is really a small sample of it. A lot of companies are experimenting to see how they can, in this competitive space, to get ahead of competition and make the customer's life a lot easier. There are really two approaches. I hope that, I guess most of you guys are technical, so I want to just make sure there are two approaches to our IT solution. Really, there is a platform with the components that just enables you to build quickly IoT type of solution. And there is also a SaaS solution. A lot of companies, Entry is a good example. I think I will put them in the category of the SaaS solutions. You don't have to build anything. You can actually go buy the product and connect your devices. Today you go to Home Depot, you buy Google product or whatever. They're really using Google IoT platform to get the data from your Nest, smoke detectors, and security and cameras. So there are two ways. But really, in the past, really, you have pre-configured solution like a Lego pieces. You take them and build them for your use case. You can deploy the infrastructure pretty quickly for these type of in a PaaS solution, you can really accelerate time to value, because as everybody is competing, whoever comes up with the first solution, will have an advantage. And also is really ideal for some of the solutions that you want to have ultimately control over it. You don't want to give the control to Microsoft, Google, or Amazon for that matter. But in SaaS, it is really immediate. You can use it, except that you don't have much of a control because somebody else runs and operates it. But it is pretty easy way of getting it up and running. And this is just example of the what I talked about. You have remote monitoring solutions. You have connected factory. Flex is using a lot. I think we are actually looking at to bring some of the solution to Flex. They have 230 factories around the world, and they want to be able to look at the health of the factories, roads, emerging, connecting the factories to suppliers, that they can intervene in case there is, any issues from a structural point of view, that they can divert the supplies to another factory to build it on time and deliver it. Healthcare companies in the space, I was at Kaiser, we are exploring a lot with the IoT devices, connected medical devices. We want to see where the equipments are, how often have been used, that we can kind of, from a regular point of view, we service them and maintain them in a timely manner. This is a remote monitoring example. People are building a dashboard that they can look at the health of all the devices and services they have deployed out there. Very typical to systems we monitored in IT, except that if I had an IT world 5,000, 10,000 servers, today you can deploy billions of devices out there. Think about it, Apple is an IoT company. If you think about it, they are selling 40 to 50 billion phones. They track this thing with find my phone, where my phone it is, wipe my phone. These are all IoT use cases if you think about it. So it is really different in scale than monitoring and managing a couple hundred or thousands of servers in an enterprise. IoT really, this is a typical solution. It gives you a device connectivity and management. You can know where your devices are, or these sensors. You can update the firmware, because these devices are not the computers. Somebody cannot connect the keyboard and mouse and go to a site, say, download the upgrade. So you have that type of control. You can collect the telemetry and control them. Maybe you want to change the function for something today. You can actually intervene through the IoT platforms. You can monitor rules and trigger actions. PGN is a good example of it. A lot of coin miners have started just like old days of pot growers, stealing the power from PG&E to power their mining machines. So they monitor and look at it as soon as there is a spike in one of the outlets in the street. Then they can kind of get alerted that, hey, somebody's using it. They have moved fully to smart light poles and that kind of stuff that they can collect data out of them. And you can, for your management and product team, you can build dashboard and visualization and get analytics from your products. And also you can have it fully hosted, as we talked, or you can manage it yourself. And there are these three major offerings that I see with IoT. It is for builders. There are people that build solutions. You can do product modeling, because you can take the data, how people use it. Intuit days, actually, we were really big on user experience. Anytime you logged in to use TurboTax or Mint or anything, we totally, we collected all the data from your interaction. What did you click? Why did you go back? Did you complete your task? But really, a lot of people are taking how the product is used, how often it's used, and the model that how to build the ultimate product. Digital twin management is really configuration management of those products. Then there are a lot more for each device category. You can build a template, just like in the servers. Old days we used to build a template to deploy app servers, website database servers. You can, for each device category, build their own template and massively deploy them to devices. And also you can build them rules and workflows, how these devices actually interact and work together. Then there is administration tool. You have to be able to manage the application running these devices. As well as, you have the user management, sometimes maybe user accessing. If you have the ring on my door, probably somebody, pressing it, you want to make sure the buttons are working, you want to make sure in my case, I have picture recognition because I don't want anytime myself or my wife or my kid comes in and out of the house, I get an alert. So with the facial recognition, kind of skips it in case it's a stranger. It kind of, alerts me. And also identity management. These devices have to be secured. We see that blockchain and some of the modern identity management is coming to these devices because this device cannot go log in his user ID and password. And last but not least, for businesses, there are more operators. Like ADT is a good example. It's a security operator base. So there is a very easy way of discovering the sensors, making sure you have a visualization of the assets where they are deployed, these products and these sensors. And as you see with IoT devices, they're very real time. We want to get a time series when an event happened and plot them over the time, so we can look at anomalies, whether usage, fraud detection when the sensors and devices are used the time that they weren't supposed to be used. And last but not least, device management, again, upgrading, putting a new software, disabling them in certain hours, or operator type of functions that you can build. How much time do we have? I want to make sure I don't go too far.
Alex, we try and limit the guest
To
speakers
10 minutes.
15 minutes plus, maybe two
Okay.
minutes for Q&A.
So, just like anything else, the platforms give you a device management lifecycle because you have to do a planning where you deploy these them, what kind of environment. Then once the devices are installed, you have to provision them, what version of the software they get, what functions they are capable of. Then you configure them, then you monitor them, and as some of these devices get older, maybe ADT will have newer sensors for motion detection. Then you have to be able, to remove them, retire them, and take out of your inventory for effective management. This is another kind of, visualization of the device management. So you have all the configuration for the devices, and software, firmware, and configuration get loaded, and device gets a new update eventually. This is the cloud edge intelligence. As I mentioned today, it is very hard to have millions of devices, billions of devices. Today, we have about, the accounting is about 20 billion plus devices, IoT devices deployed in the world. It is very incomprehensible to have these things connecting all directly. So this is where edge computing is becoming really a big buzzword in industry. As you see, a lot of investors are pouring money into people who are innovating in edge. I was collaborating with HP a month and a half ago. Even though their server business is dead, but they are getting this category of edge. They're building heavy machinery computing with deep learning capabilities that they can take the data locally from these devices, analyze them, and kind of decide if there is an issue or whatever business value they want to extract out of it. Again, this is another visualization. You can do that in the cloud. For a smaller subset of devices, it will work. But if you have a large community of devices, security is important. In banking, maybe the banks don't want to have their telemetry from their teller machines to go to the cloud and somebody have access. Then they deploy local gateways to devices. This is an example of a drilling. So they have monitors the drill for the sensor that they can sense when they will reach to the oil or whatever they're extracting. So they don't over drill or under drill. And as they sense the density and vibration, they can change the drill to appropriate drill versus taking a chance to begin with. In the old days, it was very expensive to get the data locally, then kind of put them in a hard drive or hard disk and send it to some place to analyze it. But now they're building real-time connectivity between these devices through edge computing, and they can analyze them real time. And again, but last but not least, really driving security innovation, we see that, it's become really important. I mean, at home I have a lot of consumer devices. I don't want to have people to know when I come home, when I leave. I don't want to know what temperature I use, to begin with, because there has been use cases that somebody has broken to the Wi-Fi, to the Nest, and they have put the Nest on 85, 90 degree, and people that wake up in the middle of the night sweating because somebody hacked their Nest to begin with. But this is one of the categories that actually Keith and I are partnered. We are collaborating to really hold this concept of cybersecurity into IoT and connected car, because we think it's becoming really important. And again, from technology folks being here, this is another area of really investment, and we are seeing a lot of people are pouring money and looking for better ideas and effectively secure IoT platform and devices. I think this is where I will stop, so we have 2 or 3 minutes. Anybody wants to ask questions? I think Dave has a question. No.